Hey guys, welcome back to Heiko Shaves. My name is Heiko and today is time for another shave. I have been asked in the comment section to look into a razor that we have sitting here. It's the Yaqi Cerberus. The Yaqi Cerberus is a stainless steel razor, about $95 currently during their, what's the sale right now? The 11/11 sale, which November 11th, I guess that's their anniversary or whatever, on AliExpress. On AliExpress, so $95. Fully stainless steel, fully polished. Comes again in the typical Yaqi nondescript box. Originally, I had asked Grace from Yaqi to send me one, but she accidentally sent me the diagonal, which I already had. So we don't need two diagonals. So I ended up buying one from AliExpress. Here it is, typical plastic wrapper over the razor. And here's the Cerberus, pretty interesting looking handle. You know, this spiral handle here, pretty interesting, fully polished. This is just a kind of a closed comb / hybrid because it has those little nubs on there, which kind of give you the effect of a open comb plus the protection of a closed comb. Supposedly 0.65 millimeters blade gap and a hollow handle. We just talked about it during my most recent video about the Maxwell June MJ-EX, which has a solid stainless steel handle. It's pretty chunky. It's still sitting here, still with a blade in it. I've used it 3 or 4 more times since we made that video. Really good, really good. Maxwell June MJ-EX. But let's focus on this puppy now, the Cerberus by Yaqi. Let's weigh it real quick. And this one is much lighter than the most recent MJ. This is 71 grams. And I tell you, the difference is the hollow handle. If they would make this out of a solid piece of stainless steel, this would be also 90 grams probably. Typical 3-piece. Very nicely polished. So it's actually a 4-piece because they put a little nylon washer on there. So the handle is really good looking. I don't know how it's going to hold up to wet fingers and lather and all that. Is it going to be very slippery? But we will find out. As you can see from the bottom, fully CNC machined, the typical alignment pins. So you have 3 points of alignment. That's always very good. From the outside, fully polished. And here's now the base plate. If I can not drop the nylon washer on the floor, that would be great. Here we go. And here's the bottom. And then I just noticed wasn't there an engraving of Yaqi somewhere? Or am I blind? Oh yeah, no, I'm not blind. It's very faint here on this side, laser engraved on the end. It says DLC Yaqi, just a brand name. Yeah, this is a very traditional looking 3-piece design with a very interesting handle design. Of course, you can always swap that around. So if you fall in love with a razor head, but not the handle, you can always put another cheap Yaqi handle on there. So very nice. And for comparison purposes, I always like to use razor blades that I'm familiar with. This time we're going to use a Wilkinson sword, fresh out of box. Let's get one out of here. Oh, I already took one out. I am getting old. All right, here is the fresh blade. Let's open this up. So those nylon washers, they are nice and all. They help not getting things scratched up when you tighten up the handle. But I always drop them into the sink and then they get lost. And so I just dropped the razor blade onto the top. Now the base plate and the washer and then the handle. And then we grab it by the ends. Blade tabs are completely covered up, so no cutting your fingers. Tighten that up. There's a little fuzz on here. Looks good, yeah. There is some blade gap, I would say. This is 0.65, at least AliExpress listing. And now let's see if this is a positive. So if I go in between the little nubbins here and lay this cardstock down, it's definitely positive. If I go on top of one of those nubbins, if I can, it's neutral. So this is what I would call a hybrid, because you get the best of both worlds, open and closed comb combined. A lot of razors that I have, here is the DE 5 by Fine. Here is, what else do we have? No, yeah, I guess on the Yaqi diagonal, you have a little bit of this wavy pattern there. Here on the Yaqi 37, which is the Merkur 37 clone, also with a blade in it because I like to use it. Yeah, so a bunch of razors, they kind of do this kind of deal. What other brand do we have? Here's a Merkur, little dusty. Merkur, what is it actually? 37. This is not a correction, 34C, I think. So they all get a little wavy pattern, scalloping, or those nubbins. Yeah, I would call this a true hybrid. All right, what else are we going to use? Let's put the box out of the way. It's still morning. Brought my Winnie the Pooh coffee mug. Let's take a sip. I'm really spilling on myself. Yeah, it's already getting cold. In the package that Grace sent me, where she accidentally sent me the diagonal, she had another shave brush, and I haven't even looked at it. And this is... Okay, come on. Open up. Sesame open. How am I? Come on. This is supposed to come out. Let's see if I can maybe... Oh, here with a towel. Yikes. That is tough to open. So, anticipation is killing me. Always comes in this little wrapper, this little microfiber sheet they use to keep the bristles aligned so they don't get bent. Here's this translucent kind of orange. This almost looks like a jellyfish. Look at this. Again, with a Yaqi medallion at the bottom. This is, yeah, very interesting looking, black at the top. I think this is 24 millimeters. I would have to measure the diameter at the base of the knot, but I think this is 24. Synthetic, nice backbone. Very soft at the top, very nice to the touch. And you always get this. Also says Yaqi brush on it, so you can use that to polish up the handle, I'm assuming. You know, this is really good quality. These are very inexpensive. Very nice design. Little blue, little orange in there. Like it. Okay, so we're using that. So we have the Cerberus with the Wilkinson sword blade. Let's do some Paraso green as a pre-shave. We have to go pretty generic here today because I don't have another full set of products to try out with the razor and the brush. But what I want to do is work my way through some of the samples that I've ordered from Razor Emporium. By now they do not just sell other brands razors and soaps and aftershaves, but they also have their own line of soaps and aftershaves and aftershave balm. We have used the Heritage by Razor Emporium before here, aftershave and aftershave balm. And they have so many scents by now that I can't always buy the full size soap because those are huge packages. And if I end up not liking it, you know, then you have a soap here. I don't even know how many ounces this is. Does it say that on here somewhere? Yeah, 4 ounces. So 4 ounces of soap and then those huge bottles of the aftershave. I can't do that. I can't just buy full sets each time. So I ended up ordering a bunch of their little samples, cute little packages. So here in this bag is just my collection of Razor Emporium soap samples. There is the first series they came out with was the 1955, 66, 77, and so on, and 88. They're all down here. And then they came out with all the Element 47, sandalwood, lavender, citrus. There's another Heritage. We don't need that to try that out. There's Nordic. Yeah, Element 47, sandalwood, fireside, barbershop, all kinds of things. What's this here? American amber. So there is lots of stuff for us to try out. I just put it all in this one bag for storage purposes so it doesn't take up that much space. Old school. Let's do old school today. Yeah. Now I have them all sitting here. That's great. So now they are all going to get wet and they're going to get lather on top of it. We're going to do old school. I am old school. I like old school things. That's why we're doing wet shaving with a DE razor instead of some other modern way. And then eventually we're going to get into the 1944. There's a 1966, 77, 55, I believe, and an 88. Yep. We're going to try all those out sporadically, not all at once and, you know, in a row. I filled up my scuttle, good feller smile, with warm water. There's warm water in my sink. And now we're just going to grab this little sample here, give it a quick sniff test. Yeah, this is just a clean scent, not too overpowering, old school. And we're going to grab my little scoop here. And this sample is for sure enough for, this is as much as I would take. And there's still lots of stuff in there. So you can shave with this 3, 4, 5 times. I squish it to the bottom of my scuttle. This is relatively soft soap. So we already have the pre-shave on. I'm just going to put some water over top of it. Didn't put enough water in my sink. So let me pause here real quick and fill up my sink all the way. All right, there we go. We're gonna grab my Yaqi brush here. Beautiful thing, get it wet. Drain out most of the water or squeeze most of the water out and go right into my scuttle here. You can hear the water sloshing in there. The warm water in the scuttle. The lather will be surrounded by warmth. That makes for a nice warm lather. It's winter outside. It's again a little counterproductive putting some mentholated pre-shave on because I already have the cooling effect from that. And now we're gonna put some warm lather over top of it. A little woodsy, but overall just a clean scent. Yeah, there is a little bit of some woodsiness to it. Very nice. They have pretty good scent descriptions on the Razor Emporium webpage. So if you go check out their own line of soaps and aftershaves, they give you the whole lowdown of ingredients. They are a small batch soap maker and an aftershave maker. So this is not mass production. There are no massive amounts of preservatives and such in there. It's really good, good quality stuff. So I've talked about this when we tried the Heritage here. They really only put stuff in there that needs to be in there. Stearic acid, water, coconut oil, potassium hydroxide, glycerin, shea butter, fragrance, and sodium hydroxide. Short ingredient list, and that's what I like. So you actually know what they put in there. Lather is building really nicely. The handle is nice and long, so I don't dip my fingers in there. Very good. Nice and warm in my hand. Downside is this porcelain. If you drop that, it's going to be broken. I don't know if there's any plastic scuttles out there. Anyone seen one? And then you always want to add some water until the lather is nice and shiny. That's a good indication for it being well hydrated. And now it's already coming out the scuttle at the top. I think that's it. Nice and shiny, nice and smooth, like whipped cream. Now I'm scraping off most of it, or else I'm going to be slinging this all over myself. So yeah, this is a very masculine scent. It's like it's not overpowering. It's not like one of those scents where you walk into a room and everyone can smell you. It's called Old School. I would call it lumberjack. A little clean, a little woodsy, and not too strong. Yeah, I don't have the aftershave scents, so aftershave we will have to go the generic route, which I have lots of generic options here. Very good, very good, very good. All right, so let's zoom in a little bit and start the shave. Here we go, the Cerberus Wilkinson sword blade. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of blade feel. Very good, glides very well. We just talked about this. If you have a stainless steel razor like the one we just tried. Where did I just put it? Oh, here. The MJEX by Maxwell June. It has this dull finish, which looks good. It's very pretty, but it has a little bit more resistance to gliding over your skin. And if you have a stainless steel razor like this one here, and it's fully polished to a shine, almost like a chrome finish, it glides a little better. Yeah, this is a really good combo. A sharp blade with a 0.65 millimeter blade gap and this hybrid close comb, or a hybrid close open comb, open close comb. Oh yeah, it glides really well. The blade cuts really well. There's absolutely no tugging going on. A lot of people talk about how blades are more forgiving or they are smoother. For me, there's only dull or sharp, and I always want a sharp blade. This is the densest section of my beard, and there's absolutely no tugging. This is how it needs to be. Some blades hold an edge a little longer. So feather blades, for example, I can shave 5-6 times with it, and they still give me a kind of a smooth shave. But then some other blades, they start out sharp, but then immediately after one shave, they are kind of getting dull. So we took about 90% off of 3 days of growth just now. And I absolutely have no irritation. The combination of a little bit menthol with a Parasso Green pre-shave, and then this mildly scented Old School by Razor Emporium. Very nice. All right, I'm just going in my warm scuttle here again. Whip it up one more time, add a little bit of water because we want to keep it hydrated. My skin still has some moisture from the previous lather. And as you guys know, I don't usually wash off in between. I think that's just one step too many. You're going to be putting lather on again anyways. I just added some water to it. And now we have 90% of the stubbles removed. In the second pass, it's going to feel much milder. But I haven't even talked about this. 0.6 millimeter blade gap sounds, you know, kind of medium. You know, the really aggressive ones, they have like 0.9 or a millimeter or whatever. 0.65 is kind of in the middle range. And if I would put a lot of pressure on this one, it would feel a little bit more bladey because I have the hybrid comb, right? But if you use a very little pressure, this is really mild feeling. If you just let it glide. If you glide over your skin, there is just enough blade feel so you know, okay, it's actually doing a job. I would put this at about a 1.5 out of my 1 to 5 scale. So it's not super mild like a Merkur 34 that we just had in my hand here. Merkur 34 or a Müller R89 or the Edwin Jagger. Just a tiny little bit above that. So a little bit more aggressive than the really mildest ones. Very good. It really glides. I also don't have any issues with slipperiness. Even though my fingers are wet, it slides a little bit. It's kind of interesting looking, you know, a little bit different. The rocking motion works really well. Again, yeah, not super rounded over edges here. If they would just, you know, radius that or cut a little 45-degree angle on there, that would be nice. Very good. Very good. And now with the grain down here. Very good. Yeah, the high polish surface here really makes a difference. It really helps with the gliding of the material over the skin. It's very slick. Again, comparison, where is it? MJ that we just did has this brushed finish, a little bit dull. It's not bad, but it just does not compare to a fully polished surface. So I wish manufacturers would keep that in mind. If they want to create something that gives you the smoothest possible shave, a polished surface is always better than a brushed or bead blasted surface. So even for style, you know, if you want this matte finish to make it look more industrial, you could just go ahead and polish the sides, you know. And that applies to pretty much every dull stainless steel razor I have. Here's the Rockwell 6S. Here is the Sentry by Rex Supply. Here is the Console. Here is the Above the Tie S1. Even the titanium ones, here's a Ghost by Yaqi. The aluminum ones from Timeless, they do a pretty good job because they're anodized. They look matte, but they are relatively slick. Even the titanium razors, they can always use a little bit polish when it comes to the top cap to get it nice and slick. But did we get a good result? This is pretty much as clean as you could get it in 2 passes. And it was really easy to hold on to it. For me, it's the right length. I like the shorter stubby ones. And this just has the right amount of blade feel. And due to the hybrid, you know, if you imagine the prongs of this little hybrid comb, everywhere there is a gap in between the combs or the prongs, the blade is a little bit more exposed and your skin goes in between that. And that way they create a little bit more efficiency. So this thing really took it off 3 days with no issues and a sharp blade in there. I mean, again, I don't know if anyone really still makes bad razors these days. Maybe a $5 razor from Amazon would be a bad product because it's going to be crooked and not lined up and whatnot. But this is perfect alignment, and that's what you would expect from a CNC machine razor. Fit and finished perfect. Blade tabs are covered up. If they would now put a light radius on here, a chamfer, you know, this razor would be really perfect. If you like the design of the handle, that's up to you. That's a very personal thing, I think. This is just a little different, but like I said, you can always just take the handle off and then go into your collection of razors down here and find yourself, here's another handle. This is also stainless steel. I think this is also from AliExpress. And there you have another stainless steel handle on there. Chunkier, heavier, you know, so you can always customize. But if you find a razor head that you really like, why not stick with that and just customize your handle, get a different handle. So this is really a good razor. $95 for stainless steel razor is a good price. But apparently we can also do that in the United States because the Maxwell June is also around $90. And so, you know, it's your choice, obviously, what you want to buy and who you want to support. And we're not going to get into this here on this channel anymore. I promise that. But yeah, you can get really, really well-functioning DE razors these days, and they're not going to break the bank. And 316L stainless steel, you can throw it to the bottom of the ocean next to the Titanic and pull it out a year later, and it's still going to be fine. This is heirloom quality, just like any of those other stainless steel razors I have. They will last forever unless you drop them on the ground. I didn't really have any problems with clogging. There is a decent gap here, and due to the hybrid comb, you have a decent enough of space for the lather and the stubbles to go through. And yeah, absolute no problem. Like it. And it shaved really well. You know, this is as close to really clean as we can get in 2 passes. Now I'm gonna rinse off. I'm already completely dry, but let's rinse off. Very nice. The soap did a good job. The Old School by Razor Emporium. Here's the design of the little label. Very good. It says sample on it. But a good size. I mean, they give you enough for like 3, 4, 5 shaves. Some guys, they pride themselves with using very little soap. You can probably get way more, like 10 shaves out of that if you wanted to. And then the brush, still lathered up here. The Yaqi brushes, I really like them. Recently we did this one here, also 24 millimeters. Handle design is similar, just different colors. So they have something for everyone and they don't break a bank. Really good, really good. The knots are really good. And so far in 2 years, I haven't had a single Yaqi knot come apart. We did, however, have a leaf knot initially when they came out with their own line of, silicone overmolded little, I would say that's a 20 millimeter brush. My first one fell completely apart, but they immediately noticed that. And then everyone who had bought one of their kits, they get a new one. So I got a replacement. So very good, very good. So now the generic version of me putting some aftershave on, I usually grab my Thayer's. Witch Hazel Water with Aloe is a facial toner. The company has been in existence for a very long time, since 1847. 1847, probably with one of those horse-drawn carts or wagons going from town to town and selling his toner or his whatever tonic that you could use for flat feet. Maybe you could drink it and you get some relief for a toothache out of it. You know, I just, by looking at the picture and how long they have been in business, they were probably selling this as a miracle cure for everything and going from town to town. I don't know if that was still a thing in 1847, but that's how I imagine it. And yeah, they still make this. Witch Hazel is a natural skin toner. It sucks stuff together, closes up micro injuries that you cause with a sharp razor blade, and then some aloe in it. And this is alcohol free. And then after that, we're just going to grab some Nivea, as we in English would say, or Nivea, as we would say in Germany. This one here is made in Mexico. And this is a German product. That's why Germans are so insistent on the pronunciation Nivea. That's the German name for it, by the Bayersdorf AG, which is a publicly traded company in Germany. And we're going to put a good amount in my hand and go right over top of everything. Nice and fresh. You can buy that in Germany in any store, in any drugstore, bigger supermarkets. They all have a aisle for that. You know, very popular, very good product. I like it. All right, so yeah, the Cerberus, the Yaqi brush, and our little Old School by Razor Emporium. I think all those products are great. By the way, the kits, the full-size kits of those soaps and aftershaves, they're not really super expensive either. They always sell them in pack of 3. So you get a full-size soap, and then you get a full-size aftershave and an aftershave balm. And very affordable, somewhere in the $40 range. So I would recommend to anyone, just get yourself the kit of samples, go through them, try to remember which one you liked the best. This one here is kind of like, yeah, I can use it. It's not something that I would immediately fall in love with, but it's, you know, every taste is different. So maybe you really like this one. It's a little woodsy, kind of a clean scent with a hint of woodsiness, and not super strongly scented. The Heritage currently, I really love that one. And we're gonna go here through and try to find out which ones we really like. All right, guys, that was it. We'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.